Hello and welcome back to this series on how to use FreeCAD. Today we are going to be learning about creating technical drawings, basic technical drawings in FreeCAD. I'm not going to go into so deeply about the standards and all of that, but I just want to explain how to create technical drawings that look something like this in FreeCAD, and to explain some of the functionalities in FreeCAD that could help you to do this. So the first thing would be to actually create these objects in FreeCAD. So I'm going to start with this one, and then we're going to go to this one. So what we're going to do is that we're going to create a solid model of this, then we are going to create the technical drawing that will look something like this as well. So to start with, I will just create the path, and I may speed up the video at that point in time. So this is the part I would like to create, and let me just share my screen. Alright, so I have this part already, and I noticed that this dimension was not given in my diagram, so this is 25 millimeters as well. So I have this drawing already, and I'm sure that you can create this by yourself. And the next thing I want to create now is the technical drawing, so I'm just going to make this large. How do I create the technical drawing? Now, I already explained about workbenches in FreeCAD. So you use a workbench to create technical drawings in FreeCAD. The workbench that you use in FreeCAD to create technical drawings is called TechDraw workbench, and this is where you have access to all your workbenches. So here I'm going to come down to TechDraw, and I'm going to click on it. You can see that there are a lot of tools under TechDraw workbench. In case you don't find all of these tools here, there may be some that are hidden. Maybe something like this is going on, so you can release them by like spacing out your tools just by dragging on all of these buttons, or by bringing them to other tabs or other toolbars spaces. And let's say that your tools are not even showing up at all. Something that you can do is to come to view and then come to workbench. No, not workbench. You go to toolbars, and you just want to make sure that all these TechDraw toolbars are selected. So if they are selected, they will show up, but if they are not selected, they will not show up. Sometimes it disappears, so make sure that they are selected. So here I have my body that I want to transform into a technical drawing. So what I want to say next is that you can create a blank page, like a blank A4 sheet or whatever, to do your technical drawings. And to create a blank default page, you click on this. You can see insert default page. So we are going to start with that. So I click on this insert default page, and you see that in my model tree view here, it inserts another page right after the body. It inserts another page as another element inside my file. So note that. So this is my page here, and I have my page selected. You can also see that it opens up the page underneath here. This is my body view, and then this is my page. So right next, we want to insert the view of the body, like the view of this that I want to use. So to insert that view, what you need to do first is to select the body that you want to insert the view here. Sometimes I notice that some people select the body here and then it takes them straight to this place. If it does that, just still select the body. So once you've selected the body here, right, you don't double click, just select it. Once you select the body here, you come to this button here which says insert view, and once you click on the insert view, it brings you a default view here. Now before I go any further, sometimes your view is even bigger than the page for some people. So what you want to do is that you want to adjust the scale of your view. That's usually the first thing. So this is the scale. At the present moment, the scale is 1:1, 1:1, and it's not all the time that you want your scale to be 1:1. So I'm just going to come here and I'm going to click on custom. So just for demonstration purpose, when you have a bigger number in this first one, you would notice that your diagram would be bigger than it should be. Okay, I mistakenly closed the task, and to open that up again, I will come under here, under this page element in my model tree view, and then I will double click on the view, so it brings me back here. And I don't want 2:1, I actually want 1:2. I think that is better for me. Now to move my my view around, I can't move it by just clicking on inside the view and trying to move it. I have to click somewhere inside this green box, but not on the object itself. So for instance, if I click on this green box, I can easily move it around. The easiest way I found is to just click on like the name of the view and use that to move it around. So this is my default view now. This is like my front view if we are doing orthographic drawings. Now let me go back to this. It is showing me this view, the view from this side, right? But let's say my front view is actually looking at it from this side. So how do I configure that to be my front view? Well, that is where these arrows come in to place. So I can click on these arrows and it gives me other views. So if I click this is giving me a view. If I click this is giving me another view. I can see that, okay, I think this looks like the view that I want to be my front view. So like the view from here, it will show me this part, show me this also straight down, and show me this as well. So that is the view that I want for my front view. Now how do I generate other views? Like the top view, if we're in first angle projection, the top view will show on the bottom here, and the left view will show on the side here, on the right side here. You simply do that by coming under secondary projections and selecting the views that you want. So I want top in my case, and I want the left view also to appear. So you see that front, left, and top just by selecting this. You can also select others. But I don't need or want others to be selected here. So this is what I have. I have my front view, my left view, and my top view. Now the thing is that I would like to add dimensions to this as well, and the spaces between this, I don't really like the spaces, because when I am trying to add dimensions, I don't want a situation where the dimensions will be entering into other views. So I'm going to just increase this X spacing to 30 and this Y spacing to 30 as well. So now I've clicked on it, I've increased it, but nothing is showing up here. Sometimes that happens, and what you can do is this is now the project group that we've created. Like before it was a single view, but now it's projection group containing the front, the top, and the left view. So what you can do is to select this projection view, right click, and then click on recompute object. You can see that it has moved those spaces now. So anytime you make an adjustment and it's not showing up, you can just come to the projection view or to the specific object that you have made the adjustment on, right click, and then recompute object, and usually it will show up. So I like this how it is. And one other thing that you can select is if you don't want it in first angle, if you want it in third angle for instance, you can see that, but I would like it to be in first angle projection. So I like this like this, and I'll just click on OK. So now the next thing usually is to add dimensions, and I'll just be speaking also about some dimensioning rules and all of that. Usually in technical drawings, we don't like to add dimensions. We don't like to add redundant dimensions. Let me explain what I mean by that. But let's even start by even adding dimensions. So how do we add dimensions? You remember that in the sketch we have a dimension 2. Here too we have a similar dimension 2 up here. So we click it, and then it's almost the same way like in the sketch too. you select, but in this case I like to select the vertices that I'll be dimensioning. So I select this and I select this, and it gives me that dimension. I select this and I select this, for instance, and it gives me this dimension. I select this and I select this, and it gives me this dimension here. So you can see how that is beautiful, and that is how you do your dimensioning. Select, you can also select the lines though. You can select the lines. Now you will notice something weird happens. I can also select this space here. If I select this space here, it will give me the area actually of the space, which I don't want actually. So that is simply how you dimension. Okay, so now I've shown you how you can easily put dimensions on this object, but I want to explain something about putting in redundant dimensions, especially if you are just starting out with technical drawings, like generally as an engineering student or as an engineer, or as somebody that wants to get your drawings across to somebody that will manufacture it. So even though these drawings or these dimensions don't have tolerances, it is important that you don't put in redundant dimensions, and let me explain what I mean by that. So you see that we have 110 on this end. If I come in here again and put another 110 here, I have just added a redundant dimension, because this 110 is also the same thing as this 110 here, and the mistake of that, or the error of that, could be in when you are, for instance, adding tolerances. If you add a particular tolerance to this place, to this dimension here, and you add another tolerance, a completely different tolerance to this dimension here, the manufacturer or the person producing it would have issues producing the part, because you are dimensioning the exact same thing in two different tolerances. And sometimes those mistakes can actually happen in production, especially when maybe you have made a particular technical drawing and you are asked to go and revise it. So you go and revise it and you change one, but you forget to change the other one. So we usually advise not to include redundant dimensions. So for instance, this 110 is not appropriate. So what you want to do is to fully dimension the part, like all the dimensions that are needed, you want to give it to the part. So let's try to see if we can do that. So another thing is, for instance, we have this and this. You can see how that those chain dimensions are given. So here you have 85 and 25. This is also kind of redundant, because you already have 110 here, and now you have 25 and 85 here, which is basically telling it that, okay, when you add 85 and 25 together, it's going to give you 110, which is the same thing as what is here. Instead of adding these redundant dimensions here, you can just dimension only the 25 here. That's the new detail that you have been given, and whoever it is that is making the part would be able to know that, okay, this is 85 because this is 110 from here. I hope that it is clear. Just try not to add the same dimension 2 times. Okay, so this is 25. We dimension this. We know that the total length here is 110. The total length here is 110. I think we should dimension this as well. So going back to dimension 2, I have this dimension. Oh, something is wrong with my dimension 2. I'll just press escape. Sometimes happens. So I click dimension 2 again, and you already know how to add. Let me just press escape. So if you want to add a chain dimension, you click on your dimension 2, then you click on the parts or the points that you want to dimension. So you can see that gives me a chain dimension over there, and this doesn't make a redundant dimension, because this is 25, this is 100, the distance from here to here is 100. I've not added the total distance here, for instance, so let me add that. So dimension again, and then I had this 150, so that is total distance from here to here is 150, but this is 25, this is 100. You see that I left this from here to here, because if I were to add it, that would become a redundant dimension. so there's no need to add that. What else have I not included in my dimensions? Okay, I'm coming. Let me delete this and let me add this dimension here. So that's 110, right? And then I've not dimensioned this on any view, the distance from here to here, right? I've not dimensioned it on any view. Let me even check what we're given. Oh, what we're given was straight like this, but we are taking it the other way. Well, it doesn't really matter. So let's see. I can dimension this. And of course this is at the center, but just to tell the person that okay, this is 42.5. I know that if they calculate it 110 minus 42.5, they'll be able to know that it's at the center and all of that. Okay, I think I have the part fully dimensioned now. If I were to add any other dimensions on this face here, it would become redundant. Let me show you. So if I were to add, for instance, from here to here, that is 150. But notice that this same 150 is the same 150 that is here, and we can't add redundant dimensions, so I delete this. If I were to add, for instance, this to this, from here to here, okay, my dimension 2 is not working. Okay, so from here to here, 25. I've added 25 up there, here. So that's the redundant dimension as well, so I can delete it. So the thing about this part is that it is fully defined by 2 views. That's why here we could draw the part just from 2 views, this view and this view here. So same way here, it is also fully defined by 2 views, this view and this view here. So we really don't need the third view, this top view here. And once I realize that I don't need the third view like that, I can delete this view by selecting it and then hitting the delete key. So I have only 2 views. These 2 views define the object. I don't need extra views if they don't add any new information to my object. I don't really need those extra views. So these 2 views define the object. And how do I now export this to maybe PDF form or something like that? Very simple. So I right click and I select export PDF, and I'm going to save it as practice, or let me save it as PR7. So it has been exported. Now let me find PR7. Oh no, I'm not supposed to open it. So this is my PR7 right here. Now you will notice something, that in this view, like you have these things shaded. That's opening up the Brave browser, which I don't want. So you have these things shaded, and I don't want it to be shaded. That is where I will take you through some of the FreeCAD preferences on TechDraw. So in your Windows, it could be under Files or Edit. You would find Preferences. I need you to look for Preferences. So I'm going to go to Preferences, and there are some things that we need to configure here. For instance, let me go back to this. You would notice that in your, before I go to that, you notice that we have some very thick vertices here, which is not showing up in my technical drawings here, because those are for like when you want to use it in FreeCAD. You can disable them as well, like by right clicking and then doing toggle frame, so it shows you just the way your diagram will be exported, but it's helpful to keep that on while you are still working. So now I want to disable them, and I want to show you something. Or don't let me disable them, let me just go to the drawing. So you would notice that here there is a little space between my drawing and the dimension that is created. For you, there may not be any space because maybe it's still working at the default. So now this is the way to change that. We go to preferences. Remember, we want to change 2 things now. We want to change firstly the color. We don't want it to be colored. And then secondly, we want there to be a space between the object and the dimension, which is the standard actually. So we go to file, not file, we go to preferences. Maybe for you it may be under files, but for me on my Mac it's under this, and then we go to preferences, and under preferences you should go to your TechDraw. Normally you may be in general, but you should go to TechDraw preferences, and there are a lot of preferences here. There is general, there is scale, dimension, annotation, color, HLR, and advanced. Now the first place I would like to go to is colors. Just go to colors. What you want is to come and select transparent faces, but you would notice that it is saying something here. It says item in italics are default values for new objects. They have no effect on existing objects. So that means that the object that we've already created would not be affected by, for instance, this thing that we just selected. So if I click on OK, if I still export this, it will still be the same thing. But if I just, for the sake of demonstration, if I just create, so this is a page now, I can create another new page. So just by selecting new page, you see that another page is created, page 001, and I can insert a view. I'll click on the body, insert the view, and I have that view there. Because I'm demonstrating, I just want to show you that it should not be shaded. So right click and then export PDF. Let's save it as PR8, and I'm just going to open PR8. So you can see that this is not shaded. That is simply how you turn off that shading, because we really don't want that shading when we are printing. So the next thing I would like to show you would be another preference that relates to the dimensions. So under dimensions, you have all of these things: alternate decimal, dimension format, font size. So you can change all of these things. Maybe your font size is becoming too big, you can come and change it here. Tolerance, text scale, diameter symbol, field arrows, and all of that. Now what I want to show you here is extension gap factor. Here I have mine defined to 8. So extension gap factor, so that is the distance between this object and my extension line. 8 has worked for me so far. You can change yours to I think anywhere between 8 and 5 would be okay, but 8 has worked for me, does well. So I would recommend you change that to 8. And this also, dimension 2, do you want it to be a single 2 or separated? I prefer to leave it as single 2, and all other options I prefer to leave them as they are. These are talking about the scale, defaults, then all of that. We may come back here later on, but for now those are the things that I want to highlight. Just the colors, come to transparent faces, and the dimensions, go to extension gap factor and give it a value, preferably 8, and I'll click OK. So I'm going to delete this page because I really didn't need it. So I'm going to select it like this and then hit delete on my keyboard. It says this page is not empty, I still want to delete it. Yes. So this is what I have now, and I'm going to go back to my main file. Right, in prior times what we have been doing is that once we want to create another object, let me open up what we were using before. Yes, so once we want to create another object, for instance we want to create this object now, we would in prior times create a new file and all of that. We can still do that, but I would use another method here just for the sake of showing you how to do it. So instead of creating a new file, I'll just create a new body, but I will turn off the other body so that it will not interfere with what I'm doing. So I will turn this off by clicking on this eye symbol here. You see that nothing appears, and then I'm going to go back to my path design workbench because I want to create a new path, a new body, and this is where you create a new body. This tool here, create body, and I'm going to click on it. So you can see it says body 001, and I'll just leave it as that. Then I'll create a new sketch. So everything I'm doing now is in this active body. This body 001 is the active body. So I'm going to create a new sketch here under the new body, and this is what I want to create. I want to create this part here. So I'm going to how do I start? Let's see. Let me first start from creating this. So I will speed this up so that you don't have to watch all of that. So yes, the part has been created after one crash and different things happened. Now I want to mention something before I go forward. This symbol here, you can see there's a symbol here like square 75. That means that what is being dimensioned is a square, and you don't need to, for instance, when you dimension this as 75, if you don't put the square symbol, then you have to still dimension this length too as 75. But once you just put the square symbol, then you don't need to dimension the other length as 75. It is implicit that that is a square and both sides are 75. Same thing with this 50 as well. And I believe that you know that this is a center line, right? And then this is hidden details, a line for hidden details, and of course you know by looking at the orthographic view that this line here indicates the hidden detail here, because this is the top view, so we are not seeing this caveat here. So it's showing that there is a hidden detail there, and this is also showing that there's another hidden detail there. But this center line is just showing that this is the center of the square, and this is also the center of this square in the other direction. Same with this place is showing hidden details, which is the inner wall of this object here. So this is the hidden details and hidden wall over there, and this is also the center line. Unfortunately, the dimension covers it because this is the dimension projection line, and that covers the hidden details. But that's a FreeCAD limitation, if I put it like that. There may be ways to resolve that, but that is if you look very closely, which cannot be shown by zooming in. But if you look closely, there's that hidden details, not hidden details, center line that goes all through here, which shows that this is the center of that square. So now to convert this to orthographic views, right? I think you know the drill from what we did previously. So what we do is to want to go to our TechDraw workbench, right? That's the first thing. Go to TechDraw workbench. After going to TechDraw workbench, then we create a page. But now I'm not going to create a blank page. I want to create a template page. Template pages are very useful in creating a page that already has a maybe title block or other features like that you want to use. So let me create a template page. There are many FreeCAD default templates like you may see here. What I'm just going to go to is A4 landscape TD here. So I'm just going to use that, and I'm going to use it to show us some things about templates. Before I import the part, let me just show you this quickly. You can see that in this default template you have designed by, then you have this date, this I think this is the title, and then subtitle. This shows the weight, scale, drawing number, and all of that. So you can easily edit any of this by anyone that has a blue underline. You can just double click on it and you can edit it. Definitely you can double click on it and you can edit it very easily. So I'm going to import or insert my view now. So remember, you have to click on the body. The previous body that we used was body, just normal body. Then the one that we just created is body 001. If we go back, you can easily see that it is the one. This is body 001, and this is the first body that we created. If we open up both of them, you can see that they both intersect like that, which I don't want. So this is the body that we want to insert the view now. So the next thing is to select the body, right, and then click on insert view. So that gives me a default view, but this is too big, so I want to scale it down. Come to custom scale, and I'm just going to give it a 1:2 scale, so that is better for me. Then I want to project a view. I like this as my front view. Then I want to project a view. Let's just use this as our top view. Let me increase the distance between them, say 30. Now you can also just drag this, but if you want to drag this to define the distance between them, you have to select, or you have to deselect this auto distribute, so that it will not follow the rules here. If not, it will always follow the rules here. Even if you drag it, it will still drag you back to that place when you recompute it. So I'm just going to put it at auto distribute. Right, this is the page that we are on right now. You can see this is the page that we are on right now. So I'm going to right click this, recompute object, and you see it will bring it back to that spacing that we have defined by auto distribute. So this is my view, and I like it like this, so I'm going to press OK. It's in first angle projection, so I'm going to click on OK. Something I want you to notice here is that unlike here, we have the hidden line showing here. There are no hidden details here. There is no center line, nothing like that. So we'll be putting in all of that. Unfortunately, FreeCAD does not give you those things by default. You have to tell FreeCAD that you want it to show the hidden details in the diagram. So what you can do to do that is click on the object that you want to show the hidden details. You can also click on multiple objects, like by using Command or Control to select multiple objects, right? And then you come to this part here under your model view. You scroll down and you see a parameter called hard hidden. So you can come here and select true. So once you do that, it won't show it automatically. Sometimes it would, but you can come to your project group and do recompute object, and it shows it automatically like that. But let's say that you want it to be showing by default. I think you can come to FreeCAD preferences. Just go to your preferences. For you, it may be under files, so preferences, and then under TechDraw, let's see, this is general, scale, dimension, annotations, colors, HLR. So under HLR, hidden line remover, HLR, you can actually select show add lines. So I think it will show hidden details by default if you do select that. So let me just click OK, and that will show hidden details by default, which is not something that you want every time, as you will see very soon. Now, before I go on to dimension this part, let's say that in my page I want to insert an isometric view as well, or at least a 3D view. What I do is that I have to come back to this my viewport, right? Let's say it looks like this already. Now I want to insert a view of this that looks fine and beautiful. If I come here, the way to insert that view could be to come to this insert view here, insert active view, and I have to firstly click on the view that I want to insert. So let's say body 001, insert active view. Could not determine which page to use. Okay, I have to select the page and press OK. Well, that is not working for some reason, but this is the one that I really want to show you. So you come to your insert view here, the same insert view that we used. Come to that. Oh, I have to select the view first, so this will open up SVG browser. So I have to select the view that I want to insert first, like the body. So selecting the body, then come to insert view. After coming to insert view, you see that it gives me that my default view again, but I don't want this default view. I actually want to select this here. It said set direction of the camera. So if I select this, you would notice that it will give me the view as I have positioned the object in my viewport. So let me just set the scale to 1:2 like the rest, and I'll click OK. So you can see that it gives me the view, the isometric view, so to speak, in the exact way that I've positioned my object. So that means that if you want to insert a view based on the camera view, you have to position your object properly. And the best way, or one of the best ways that I found to do that, is by using your keyboard. If you press 0 on your keyboard, it will take you to the isometric view. Then if you press VF, it will help you to put that view exactly how it should be. So I'm just going to delete this, and I'm going to reinsert that view. So I'm going to come again, select my body first, then come to insert active view, then select this camera position. I want it to be custom. 1:2 will be good for me. So I press OK. So this is what I want. And you notice that the hidden details are shown, which sometimes is not what I want. So I can just select this, because I've already selected that it should show hidden details by default. So I can come to hide hidden here and do false. I don't actually want it to select to show hidden details. So I'll right click on this view and recompute object. So those hidden details are gone. And this gives me a beautiful isometric view. Okay, so we have our hidden details showing, we have our isometric view showing. Let's dimension this object. Now remember, we don't include redundant dimensions, and we try to dimension as intuitively as possible. So let's see the dimensions that I can include. I will include the dimension from here to here to give them a view of the entire object, then from here to here as well. Then I have that already. So like you would see here, the dimension from this side to the center of the squares, right? And I can include that dimension as well, but that would take me to including something else. So before I do that, let me first include the dimensions for the squares. So I can include dimension from here to here, and then that gives me 50, right? And then I can include dimension from here to here, and then that gives me 75. But these are normal dimensions. This is normal 50, this is normal 75, but I need to make it like square 50, square 75, so that I don't need to, if I don't include the square symbol there, that means that I would need to dimension from here to here as well and say 75, which will cloud up my diagram. So what I do in that case is that you select the dimensions that you want. I'm using Control to select both of them, holding the command key. I select both dimensions, and then I go to TechDraw, right? TechDraw here, up here, and then I go to dimensions, and under dimensions I will insert prefix square. You can see insert prefix square, insert prefix nx, and all of that, but here I'm going to insert prefix square. So you can see it insert those prefixes. I don't know what to call that, but it insert those symbols that I want for it. So that gives me 50 and 75. Now I want to put a center line right in the middle of this, and another center line right in the middle of these squares. How do I do that? Well, this is how you do that. So you can come up here, up in this place, and this will insert cosmetic thread and all of that. But to insert center line, you come here. You can see insert center lines. So it's a little bit manual. You have to think about, where do I need to insert my center lines? FreeCAD won't insert them for you automatically. So for instance, I need to insert a center line between these two lines. So what I do is to select this line, then select the other line, like by holding Control or Command, of course, and then I click on this insert center line. It says selection is not a center line. So I come down here, and you can see add center line to face, add center line between two lines, add center line between 2 points. So what I want is add center line between 2 lines, because I've selected 2 lines. So click on this, and then it gives me that center line over there. Now the thing is that I don't like the thickness of this my center line. I usually prefer the thickness at something around 0.3. So I come here to weight, and I adjust that weight. Let's say that you don't want that center line to be vertical. You can also make it horizontal. Oh, because I'm selecting 2 lines, it won't go horizontal, so vertical it is. You can also increase the extension of the center line. You see right now it's at extend by 3.0 millimeters, so I can increase that extension of the center line if I want, but I'll just leave it at maybe 5. Yes. And I'm going to press OK. So that's the center line for me. I'm going to insert another center line now between this, like inside this face here, right? And I'm going to click on insert, add center line between face or to face. So that's exactly what I want. And I'm going to reduce the thickness to 0.3, and I'm going to leave every other thing as it is. Press OK. And I want to add another center line that goes horizontal like this. But if I add it between this face, it will give me just the length like this, but I want it to go like all through this object. So I'm going to click on this face instead, and I'm going to create add center line between that face. But you notice that it gives me an horizontal center line here, sorry, a vertical center line here, but I want an horizontal center line. So you see that line, and I will reduce that thickness to 0.3. So that's what I want, just to show that this square is at the center of this face of this object face, same thing. So I'm going to press OK, and those give me the center lines that I want. Sometimes it can be helpful to toggle the frame so that you can see what will actually be shown on your diagram, right? So this is what I need, right? Yes. So now let me add other dimensions that I may need to add. I'm going to toggle the frames back on. So I need to add the dimension from this to this portion here. So I'm going to add that dimension. Go back to my dimension tool, and I'm going to click on this object as well. So you can see that it takes that dimension from basically like the bottom. So that is why that center line is hidden by the dimension projection lines. Then what else? Which other dimensions do I need? Okay, I need the dimension from here to here, then to here. So I'm just going to position that something around there. What else do I need? I already have this dimension. I have the dimension to the center of the squares. Is there any other dimension I need? If I add dimension from here to here, it will be redundant because I've already given the dimension of from this place to the center of the squares, which they can use to draw the squares. So there will be no need for that. So I think all of this actually fully define my object. Let me check the reference drawing that we're given. Oh, that's true. We didn't have the dimensions from here to here, from here to here, from here to here. So let us add that. You want to make sure that your object is fully defined, or the dimensions are fully given. So I'm just going to add this like this, and this too. Then from here to here, and I usually like, it is usually a standard that your dimension should be about one is it 10 centimeter or there about, not 10 centimeter, maybe 10 millimeters from the object actually. So I have that. You can notice that this 75 is coinciding with this front 001. The reason I'm leaving it like that is because when I turn on off the frames, you can see what that gives me. So I can even adjust it a little bit, let's say like this. So this is what will be exported. Now let me export this. So I can easily right click. There are different ways that you can do it. You can come to files here and do export PDF, or I can right click here and export PDF, or I can do print all pages. So if I do print all pages, you will notice that I have two pages inside this document. So this is the first page I have here, and this is the second page I have here. So if I right click and I select print all pages, I believe that it is supposed to I think, right, that it is supposed to print all the pages. So let's see if that will work. For me, this is my print view, so I'm just going to save as PDF, and let me save it inside my desktop PR9. and that should be exported. So let's open up PR9. Let's see if yes, so you see this is the first page and this is the second page here, and that is how you get your dimensions fully done on FreeCAD. In the next video, we are going to be also considering TechDraw Workbench, but we are going to be going more into I want to show you how to add center lines to circles and things like that, dimensioning objects that have circles, curves, arcs, and things like that. So thank you very much for joining me in this video. I believe that this has been a solid introduction to dimensioning with FreeCAD. I mean technical drawings with FreeCAD, and you don't know it until you actually try it. So try it with either this or some of the views that we have already done. I will try to add this document to the description of the video below so that you can use it to recreate the diagrams that we've done. Thank you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.